She walked into the sleek glass conference room, heels clicking sharply on the polished marble floor, feeling the weight of every gaze that followed her, including the CEO, whose smirk radiated a mixture of superiority and dismissiveness that had haunted her thoughts for the past week. The sting of humiliation still lingered from the last meeting, where he had belittled her ideas in front of the entire board, laughing as if her contributions were meaningless. But today, something inside her had shifted. She was no longer the timid, polite employee who had swallowed her pride. Today, she had a plan. Today, she would assert herself in a way that no one would expect. Every breath she took was a silent promise. She would reclaim her dignity. She would make her ideas heard, and she would demonstrate that her intellect, creativity, and resilience were forces that could not be ignored. The tension in the room was electric, as if the walls themselves were aware that this meeting was about to become a turning point. This was more than a simple presentation, it was a calculated challenge, a battle of strategy and authority, and she was ready to win. Before the story begins, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these unbelievable real-life HOA and office drama stories. Trust me, you will want to see every twist, every strategic move, and every moment of triumph. You don't want to miss a single second. She began her presentation with a poised and steady voice, deliberately controlling the room's energy, allowing the CEO and the board to feel the full weight of her presence before she even spoke. Each slide was meticulously crafted, each chart carefully designed to convey not just data, but vision. She wanted them to see her not merely as an employee, but as someone who understood the company's trajectory better than anyone else in that room. Murmurs began to ripple among the board members, subtle nods acknowledging the depth of her research and the innovation behind her proposals. He tried to interject early, his voice dripping with sarcasm as he made a thinly veiled attempt to undermine her. But she had anticipated this. With a calm but firm gesture, she redirected the conversation, asking a single question so pointed and strategic that it caught him off guard. His smirk faltered for a moment, revealing the first cracks in his veneer of superiority. Her momentum grew with every word, every confident explanation of the steps she had taken to prepare, and every scenario she had accounted for in her strategic plan. By the time she had outlined her first major initiative, the board was leaning forward, fully engaged, and the CEO was left scrambling to find footing in a discussion he no longer dominated. Her careful preparation had turned the tide, and the initial humiliation he had inflicted now seemed irrelevant in comparison to the authority she was establishing in that very room. Every minute reinforced her growing control, every nod of approval from the board strengthening her position and weakening his. The meeting concluded with subtle but clear acknowledgement of her influence. She left with a quiet, powerful satisfaction, knowing that the first domino in a series of strategic victories had fallen, and that the power dynamics in this office would never be the same. The following week brought a new challenge, one she had anticipated but also planned meticulously for. A sudden crisis had arisen. A critical project threatened to derail the company's quarterly objectives, potentially causing major financial and reputational damage. The board convened an emergency session, and she entered with a sense of calm purpose. Noticing the CEO's unease, he had realized, perhaps too late, that she was no longer just a competent subordinate, she was now a strategic mind, capable of controlling outcomes and navigating chaos. As the meeting commenced, she presented a detailed, step-by-step plan, outlining every risk, every contingency, and every opportunity for growth. Her strategic foresight left little room for debate. The board could see clearly that her plan was not only feasible, but also the most intelligent course of action. She spoke with authority, her tone confident, measured, and persuasive, leaving no room for doubt. While he attempted subtle interruptions that were effortlessly deflected by her precise arguments and irrefutable data, the room, previously dominated by his presence, now leaned into her every word. Board members began seeking her advice on critical decisions, and even those who had doubted her capabilities previously were now visibly impressed. By the end of the session, her plan was adopted almost unanimously, reinforcing her influence and demonstrating that she was a force that could not be ignored. This was more than a single victory. It was a confirmation that her intellect, preparation, and strategic thinking had permanently altered the office hierarchy. The CEO, whose previous mockery had once stung, was now forced to acknowledge her authority, silently conceding that he had underestimated her. Months passed, and she systematically converted her newfound influence into tangible, measurable results. Every project she managed began to outperform expectations, with increased efficiency, higher profits, and greater employee engagement. Her leadership style, intelligent, precise, and empathetic, began reshaping the company culture. Junior staff, inspired by her guidance, followed her lead, building loyalty and admiration that reinforced her influence. The CEO, once confident in his unchallenged authority, now sought her counsel on key initiatives, often deferring to her judgment even before discussions began. Her presence became synonymous with reliability, innovation, and strategic foresight, and her influence expanded beyond her immediate team to encompass the wider organization. Industry analysts began noticing the changes, crediting the company's turnaround to innovative leadership and strategic decision-making, with her name increasingly associated with the company's success. Every meeting, every report, every presentation became a stage on which she displayed her strategic mastery, subtly strengthening her position while remaining respected and admired. By the end of the year, whispers of her power had transformed into open acknowledgement. She was no longer just an employee. She was a key driver of the company's success, a visionary whose intellect demanded recognition. Her ultimate test arrived with a major acquisition opportunity that could redefine the company's future. The board convened a critical session, and she entered with the same poise and calculated energy that had carried her through every previous challenge. As she presented her strategy, the room hung on her every word. She had prepared for every scenario, anticipating objections, assessing risks, and highlighting opportunities. Her recommendations were bold yet calculated, visionary yet pragmatic, ensuring that the board would have complete confidence in the course of action she outlined. The CEO, now tempered and aware of her unmatched strategic mind, deferred to her judgment, allowing her to steer the discussion and influence the board's decision-making process. By the end of the session, her strategy had been adopted, securing the acquisition and positioning the company for unprecedented growth. The culmination of months of preparation, strategic maneuvering, and unwavering determination had resulted in not just personal triumph, but organizational transformation. She had turned the humiliation of mockery into mastery, transforming a hostile environment into a platform for her success, and establishing herself as a leader whose vision could no longer be ignored. Her influence now spanned the company, industry analysts, and even the CEO, whose acknowledgement of her capabilities was now both public and undeniable. She had not only survived adversity, but had leveraged it into authority, demonstrating the power of resilience, intelligence, and calculated action. Her rise had been both deliberate and extraordinary, a journey that turned every slight, every sneer, and every moment of condescension into fuel for her ascent. She had transformed the office dynamics, created allies and influence, and cemented her reputation as a leader capable of navigating challenges with clarity, authority, and courage. The company flourished under her guidance, innovative projects launched, employee morale increased, and the organization's public image and investor confidence soared. She had rewritten the rules of engagement in her office, transforming a culture of underestimation into one of respect, collaboration, and strategic success. And while the CEO's prior arrogance had given her the initial spark to act, it was her own intelligence, preparation, and perseverance that ensured her victory. By the time the next board meeting convened, she was no longer just recognized internally. Her reputation as a formidable leader was spreading throughout the industry, marking the start of a legacy that would define her career for years to come. Every decision, every strategy, every calculated move she made had reinforced the fact that she was in control, and that control was recognized, respected, and unstoppable. Her journey culminated in the final board presentation regarding the company's long-term strategic vision. She walked into the room, confident and composed, aware that all eyes were on her. The CEO, now visibly aware of the shift in power, allowed her to take full command of the presentation. She spoke with authority, weaving a narrative of innovation, growth, and foresight, outlining a roadmap that would elevate the company beyond its current challenges and set the stage for decades of success. Every detail was precise, every scenario considered, every opportunity leveraged. The board listened intently, their admiration for her growing with each passing moment, and even the CEO had to silently acknowledge her brilliance. As the session concluded, applause filled the room, not just for her presentation, but for the undeniable mastery and leadership she had displayed. She had turned humiliation into influence, ridicule into recognition, and mockery into mastery. The company, once a setting for her challenge, had become the stage for her triumph. And every calculated move she had made had contributed to a complete transformation of both her career and the organization itself. The rise she had orchestrated was a testament to resilience, intelligence, and the power of strategic thinking under pressure, demonstrating that no obstacle, insult, or underestimation could stop someone prepared to take control. If you love seeing her transformation from being mocked to taking full control of her career and company, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping HOA, office, and property drama stories. Click the bell icon so you never miss a twist, a strategy, or a moment of triumph that will leave you inspired and shocked. Trust me, these are real stories that will blow your mind.